This is Chuck Schaefer of Customer TV, and I'm joined by Phil Fernandez, CEO of Marketo. Phil, thanks for taking some time out of a busy day and a busy event to share in a conversation.
Hi, Chuck. It's a crazy busy event, but glad to do it.
Great. Where does social media or social CRM fit into or complement marketing automation and even RPM?
Mm-hmm. Well, social's incredible, and it's one of the things that was one of the sort of founding drivers when we created Marketo. The basic thesis, right, underlying all of this is that there's a shift of power from the seller to the from the seller to the buyer. That is, that the buyer is more empowered to make their own decisions. So going to the web, typing into Google a search for a product they might be interested in is an example of that. So social is that sort of whole idea on steroids, right? Now the buyer not only can go and ask the vendor by way of web search, for example, about things, but they ask their friends. So for example, before I recently bought my last car, just a couple of months ago, the first thing I did is went onto Facebook and I put out a call to my hundreds and hundreds of friends and said, what do you like in terms of new generation SUVs with better gas mileage and the like? And I got opinions from people that shaped my decision about which car to buy. So that's what social is all about. Is it's again giving power to the buyer and transferring that away from the seller. So what sellers have to do in that world is realize that social is a medium that empowers the buyer and gives them the ability to cut through all the noise and get to the facts. And so sellers now need to leverage social in its true word of mouth or its human to human kind of contact, realize that social is about transparency, it's about honesty, it's about truth, it's about the buyer being able to get to the facts. And the seller then needs to participate in that world in a true, legitimate, transparent way. And if they do that right, it becomes yet one more way to find new buyers.
What you're saying makes all the sense in the world, and it's a great premise for a great strategy. Let me dive down just a little bit. How does a business leader apply technology so that they can scale that strategy and deliver social in a consistent way and engage in mass, that kind of thing?
Well, they start with the notion that buying is changing, and that buying is being driven by people that want to go to the web, go to social media, make their own purchase preference decisions, really self-directed themselves. And so anytime a company knows that their buyers are looking at them online, looking to find them, finding them through Google, finding them through typing searches into Google or Facebook or wherever it might be, that company needs to be thinking about the ideas inside RPMs. Well, one of the things I'm a believer in is that buyers are multi-channel creatures. Buyers want to use social, but that doesn't mean that they don't go to the web. It doesn't mean they don't walk into a store. It doesn't mean they don't pick up the phone and talk to somebody about a product or service that they want to buy. So from a technology point of view, the first thing that has to happen is buyers, they expect that the people that they do business with, the companies they do business with, know them and know them consistently across channels. And technology and big data, as it's now often gets called, which is about building and understanding who buyers are, can also create a very warm and engaging buying experience across channels. So buyers of technology need to think about how social is not some new separate thing, but is part of this cross-channel engaging buying experience. What that leads to is what I think is a key trend in our industry, which is marketing platforms are now starting to emerge, platforms that cross web, email, social, text, telephone, direct mail, even webinars, seminars, events like Dreamforce, a live trade show, and create a continuous buying experience across all of those channels. And social just needs to be treated in some sense as a very special channel, but it's just one more of the ways that the buyer engages with the brands and the companies they want to do business with.
Very good. Phil, how is mobile impacting how marketers engage with their prospects and customers?
Well, mobile is, yet again one of these changes. Number one, it's about this digital experience just moving into immediacy of every minute. So if somebody's about to make a purchase, they go right on their mobile Facebook app and ask their friends, right? And so the point is that mobile just is an accelerant around all of these trends that we can talk about how web, social, search, etc. have been driving this empowerment of the buyer. That said, so mobile obviously produces, beyond the fact that it puts computing power in everybody's hands at every minute, it also creates just these amazing opportunities around location-based buying, right? If a buyer is willing to share where they are and what they're doing, then the right kind of vendors, the right kind of companies that have something to sell or brands that want to engage with that buyer can take advantage of that mobile device to present an offer, to present information to the buyer at the right time, at the right place, where they are so that they can take advantage of it fast. I think we're just starting to see that come online. It can be creepy. We have to work through permissions. We need to work through lots of norms about how our location-based kind of buying offer is going to take place. But I think that's a train that's just coming down the tracks that we're going to see mobile offers everywhere over the next few years.
Very good. For my last question, let me see if we can look forward a little bit. If we look out a few years, how do you envision that the RPM and maybe with supporting marketing automation technologies is going to change and evolve?
Well, I think we see still an incredibly fragmented market in the marketing space. Many products and solutions and companies have grown up around marketing channels, around email, around search, around social, around the various aspects of the market. And that's created a very fragmented view. It's a view that to the customer, to the end buyer, looks fragmented as the buyer crosses between various channels. So what we're going to see, I think, for the first time is the emergence of a true marketing platform that spans all those channels. If you ask a CFO what's their software platform, they'd say SAP or NetSuite. They wouldn't miss a beat. If you ask a head of sales what their software platform is, they'd say Salesforce, or I'd name another CRM system. But you ask most CMOs that question, and they wouldn't even know what you're talking about if you say, what's their platform? But I think 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, CMOs are going to know that they have a piece of technology that is theirs, that integrates with the rest of the enterprise, and helps them put their best foot forward across every channel to create that buying experience for the buyers that are trying to find them, web, social, and all these other channels we've been talking about.
Very good. And I think with that insight, we're at a good break point to conclude our conversation. This is Chuck Schaefer. I've been joined by Phil Fernandez, CEO of Marketo. Phil, thank you for your comments and insight, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Chuck. It's been great.